listen to me and truly hear me. Life doesn't really begin the day you're born. It starts the moment you wake up, the moment your eyes truly open and you finally recognize what's always been right in front of you. For the ones who are meant for more, that moment, that awakening, often comes at 40. You see, for years you've been running, searching, struggling, trying to make sense of the chaos, trying to fit into a world that never quite saw you clearly. But at 40, something shifts, something clicks. The noise begins to fade and the truth rises to the surface. The truth that you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out. So why does life truly begin at 40 for the chosen ones? Let me show you why. Let me give you 8 solid reasons why this is when everything starts to transform. Number 1, you finally understand who you are. Life has this way of shaping you, refining you, often without you noticing until you look back and realize how far you've come. At 40, something inside you changes. You step into your real self, not the one others tried to shape. Not the version created to make people comfortable, but the true you, the one that's been waiting patiently beneath the surface. It takes years to peel back the layers of expectation, the pressure of culture, and the weight of your past. But when you reach this age, you realize the goal was never to become someone new. It was to return to who you really are. You've spent so much time chasing approval, trying to prove yourself, molding your identity to fit into spaces that weren't designed for you. But not anymore. Now there's no more room for pretending, no more time for masks. You can only be real, raw, and fully yourself. Think about it. For decades, you were trained to follow the rules, to stay in line, to believe success and happiness were only possible if you ticked the right boxes. You were taught to please, to conform, and for years, you did just that. You tried your best to fit in. You became what others expected: the student, the worker, the friend, the partner, the parent. And while each role carried meaning, none of them truly defined you, because deep down, a quiet voice kept whispering that you were made for something more. At 40, that voice doesn't whisper anymore. It roars. You feel it with certainty. You've got nothing left to prove, nothing to gain from faking it, and nothing to lose by being exactly who you are. So many people feel lost in their 20s and 30s because they're still figuring things out, still experimenting, still searching. And that's okay. Growth takes time, and becoming who you're meant to be is a process. But by the time you reach 40, you're not searching anymore. You've arrived. You know what works for you and what doesn't. You know what's real and what's just noise. You no longer force yourself into places that don't fit. You stop entertaining friendships that drain you, jobs that trap you, and relationships that disrespect you. You've been there before. And you learned, often the hard way, that losing yourself for others is never the answer. At 40, a quiet but powerful confidence takes over. Not the loud, attention-seeking kind, but the deep, steady kind that comes from true self-awareness. You no longer wait for someone to give you permission to be you. You no longer shrink yourself to keep others comfortable. You don't hide your light. You don't apologize for your strength. You understand now that the people who truly belong in your life will embrace you for exactly who you are, and the ones who don't. They were never meant to stay. You stop chasing connections. You stop needing approval. You stop relying on others to validate your worth, because now you've learned that the highest form of freedom is fully accepting yourself. There's something unexplainably freeing about getting to this point in your life. You carry yourself differently. You speak with clarity. You stand with a certainty that only years of life experience can teach you. You don't waste energy explaining yourself to people who never tried to understand you in the first place. You stop trying to convince anyone of your worth. You no longer feel the need to defend your choices, your growth, your truth, because you know not everyone will get it, and that's perfectly fine. You're okay being misunderstood. You're okay being different. You're okay standing on your own if it means staying true to who you are. And this shift changes everything. You begin to make decisions based on what feels right to your soul, not what looks good on the outside. You choose your peace over pleasing people. You pour into yourself, into your growth, your health, your dreams. You finally understand that saying no is an act of love. You don't feel bad for setting boundaries. You don't feel guilty for walking away from people or places that no longer reflect who you are becoming. You now know that growth demands release. And let's talk about self-worth. At 40, you stop measuring your value by surface things. You don't define success by titles, stuff, or what others say about you. You've learned that true wealth is peace of mind. True success is waking up and loving your life. True fulfillment is knowing you're walking in alignment with your purpose. You've realized that happiness doesn't come from approval, it comes from within. And once you fully embrace that, you become unstoppable. But let's be real. This clarity wasn't handed to you. It came through struggle, through heartbreak, betrayal, failure, disappointment, through moments that nearly broke you. But you made it. You overcame what was meant to destroy you. And now, because of what you've been through, you carry a different kind of strength, a different level of wisdom, a deeper faith. You don't question your worth anymore. You know you're enough. You no longer wait to be chosen. You choose yourself. At 40, you stop viewing yourself through the lens of who you used to be. You stop replaying past regrets and holding on to old mistakes. You forgive yourself. You show yourself grace. You recognize that every single experience shaped you for this moment. Every setback, every loss, every delay, it all had purpose. And now you're ready. Ready to live life on your own terms. Ready to move forward without fear. Ready to step fully and unapologetically into your power. So if you're wondering whether your best years are behind you, let me be clear, they're not. This isn't the end. It's the beginning of your most real, most empowered, most meaningful chapter. Because now, you finally know who you are. And that is the greatest gift of all. Number 2, you stop caring about opinions that don't matter. There comes a moment when the weight of what others think stops holding you back. That moment is 40. For years, you were wired to seek approval, to fit in, to play it safe and avoid judgment. You moved carefully, staying within the lines, trying not to draw too much attention or ruffle any feathers. But now, you're over it. You've spent too much energy trying to impress people who were never invested in your well-being. You've drained yourself trying to live up to expectations that were never yours to begin with. And now you realize something powerful. Most people's opinions don't matter. Really think about how much time you've lost worrying about what others might think, the opportunities you let pass, the dreams you delayed, the words you swallowed, all because of fear. But when you hit 40, something shifts. You wake up and realize the opinions you once feared have no hold over you anymore. You see clearly that most people are too focused on their own problems to truly care about what you're doing. And the ones who do criticize, they're usually the ones doing the least with their own lives. The loudest doubters are often those too afraid to chase their own dreams, so they try to tear down yours. But once you understand that, you stop taking it personally. You stop letting their voices shape your choices. You stop giving them space in your mind because you finally get it. Their opinions say more about them than they ever did about you. At 40, you take your power back. You stop explaining yourself. You stop defending your choices. You stop looking for validation from those who were never meant to understand your path. Not everyone will get you, and that's perfectly fine. You're no longer here to make sense to everyone. You're here to live your truth. You don't need approval to be yourself. You don't need permission to chase your dreams, and you don't need a standing ovation to take the next step forward. You do what's right for you, and that, my friend, is freedom. But let's be honest. This kind of transformation doesn't happen overnight. It comes after years of putting others first. Years of keeping quiet so others could feel comfortable. Years of pushing your own needs aside to avoid being judged. You spent your earlier years trying to be what everyone else wanted, rather than who you really are. You wore the masks, played the roles, kept your real thoughts hidden because you didn't want to cause waves. But what did it cost you? Your peace, your dreams, your joy. At 40, you stop playing that game. You choose yourself. You choose calm over performance. You choose realness over recognition. You decide to live by your own standards instead of the world's expectations. And when you do, everything shifts. You feel lighter. You feel free. You finally breathe because you're no longer carrying the weight of people's opinions, especially from those who don't even walk your path. The truth is, most opinions are temporary. The critics of today will forget their words by tomorrow. The doubters will move on, and the ones who judged you, they were never really focused on you at all. People are too caught up in their own world to stay fixated on yours. Still, for too long, you acted like their opinions were gospel, but not anymore. At 40, you start trusting yourself. You believe in your own journey, your own wisdom, your own gut. You don't need a panel of approval to make decisions. You're the one who has to live with them, and that's enough. And here's the thing, you stop apologizing. You stop saying sorry for being real. You stop minimizing your power so others can feel comfortable. You stop carrying guilt for choosing a different road. By now, you understand the people who are meant to stay will support you no matter what. The ones who don't, they were never part of your real story. You stop asking to be understood. You stop proving your worth. You stop waiting for someone to hand you permission to rise. This kind of clarity changes everything. It changes how you show up at work, how you love, how you move through the world. You no longer settle for situations that suffocate your spirit. You don't give time to conversations that drain your energy. You don't chase validation from people who were never in your corner. You carry yourself differently. You guard your peace. You surround yourself with people who lift you up instead of pulling you down, because now you know what you deserve. And let's be real. Caring too much about what people think is exhausting. It keeps you small. It keeps you second guessing. It keeps you living a life that isn't even yours. But at 40, you let that go. You free yourself. You start making decisions based on what truly brings you joy, not what gets applause. You stop measuring your worth by likes, compliments, or acceptance because your value never depended on outside opinions. And here's the most powerful part. When you finally stop caring about the wrong opinions, you make room for the right ones. You open the door for real connections, honest encouragement, and people who love you for exactly who you are. Most importantly, you learn to rely on yourself. You become your own source of confidence, your own reassurance, your own number one supporter. So if you've been holding yourself back out of fear of what people might say, let that fear go. Their opinions won't pay your bills. Their opinions won't heal your heart. Their opinions won't fulfill your purpose. But your courage, your choice to believe in yourself, that will. At 40, you finally get it. This life is yours. Live it boldly, live it truthfully, and never ever let someone else's opinion keep you from being who you were born to be. Number 3, your vision becomes crystal clear. There comes a moment when the fog lifts, when the doubts, the distractions, and all the noise start to fade. And for the first time, you can see it, your direction, your purpose, your vision. At 40, something inside shifts. The confusion that once held you back is replaced by deep clarity. You stop chasing every new opportunity, every passing idea, every voice that tells you what you should be doing, because now you know. For years, you were trying to figure it all out. You explored, you stumbled, you listened to advice, some good, some not so much. You walked down roads that didn't lead anywhere. You chased dreams that weren't truly yours. You poured energy into things that didn't serve you. And even through all that, you were still searching for direction, for meaning, for that one thing that would bring it all together. Then one day, it clicks. You finally see what matters. The distractions that used to pull you off course no longer have any grip. The people who once projected their own path onto your life, you stop listening. The voice of doubt that once made you question everything, you silence it. You walk with conviction now, You don't waste time on anything that doesn't move you forward. You don't settle for what drains you. You've become laser focused, and this kind of clarity is powerful. It makes decisions easier. You don't hesitate, you don't overthink, and you no longer wonder if you're on the right path. You know you are. You trust your journey in a whole new way. You understand that every twist, every loss, every delay was preparing you for this exact moment. Now you move with purpose. You're no longer swayed by hype or short-term rewards. You don't say yes just because something looks good on the outside. You pause and ask, does this align with who I am? Does it bring me closer to my purpose? Does it feed my soul? If the answer is no, you walk away. No guilt, no doubt, no second thoughts, because now you understand that time is your most precious currency. You no longer chase shallow success. You're not impressed by status or image. You're not moved by trends. You chase meaning, you chase legacy, you chase impact. Because now you know real success is waking up each day and living with intention. And at 40, that's what matters most. Here's what's amazing. Once your vision becomes clear, the right people, the right chances, the right situations begin showing up. It's like the universe aligns with your clarity. When you know what you want, you send a powerful signal to the world. I'm ready, I'm committed, I'm on purpose, and the world responds. But again, let's not pretend it was easy getting here. You had to experience confusion. You had to try things that left you empty. You had to chase things that looked right but didn't feel right. You had to hit walls before you found direction. And because of that, your clarity is built on truth. It's solid. It's real. It's earned. This clarity touches every area of your life, your relationships, your work, your habits. You stop giving your energy to anything that doesn't align. You don't live on autopilot anymore. You live with direction. And here's the most freeing part. When your vision is locked in, you stop explaining yourself. You don't need to justify your path. You don't ask for agreement. You don't convince others to see what only you were meant to see. You trust that those who are meant to walk with you will, and those who don't, they were never meant to join the journey. At 40, you become a force. You don't hesitate. You don't shrink. You don't second guess your worth. You hold your vision. You chase it fearlessly. You protect it with your energy. And most of all, you trust it. Because now you understand, the only thing ever standing between you and the life you were meant to live was your belief in yourself. Number 4, you have experienced enough pain to build unshakable strength. There comes a time in life when you stop running from pain, stop fearing it, and stop seeing it as the enemy, because you finally realize pain was never sent to break you. It was sent to build you. At 40, you've lived enough, endured enough, and fought through enough storms to understand a deeper truth. You've faced heartbreak, lost people you thought would always be by your side, and carried heavy burdens in silence, things no one else even knew about. And yet, through it all, you made it. But simply surviving was never the whole story, because something eventually shifts. You stop viewing yourself as a victim of your past and begin to see that you've been shaped by it, molded into a stronger, wiser, more grounded version of who you once were. Every tear, every letdown, every betrayal had a purpose. It all helped shape your foundation. And now, you no longer fear tough seasons. You face them with open arms because you understand that every time life knocks you down, it gives you another opportunity to rise higher. There were moments you questioned whether you could keep going, when the pressure, the loneliness, the failures felt unbearable. But here you are, still standing, still showing up, still refusing to quit. The pain that once threatened to break you has now become your greatest lesson. It taught you patience, persistence, and most of all, it taught you that you are capable of overcoming anything. At 40, you know now that real strength isn't about avoiding pain. It's about walking through it without letting it steal your soul. It's about standing firm in the middle of the storm, knowing full well that no matter how fierce it gets, you will not fall. You are no longer breakable. You don't collapse at the first sign of struggle. You no longer fold under pressure, because the battles you've survived have given you something rare, true resilience. And that resilience, it changes everything. You no longer react emotionally to problems. You don't let obstacles shake your mindset. You don't waste your breath complaining because you now see the bigger picture. You recognize that each challenge carries a lesson. Each hardship comes with a gift. Each setback holds the potential for a greater comeback. That's why you move differently. You don't panic, you plan, you don't retreat, you adjust. People might wonder how you stay so calm in chaos, why you don't fall apart, why you don't seek pity, why little things don't rattle you anymore. But they haven't seen what you've survived. They don't know about the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the times you picked yourself up off the floor alone, the silent wars you fought with no cheerleaders in sight. They see the strength, but have no clue what built it, and that's okay. You don't need their understanding. You don't crave validation. You're not looking for sympathy, and you're not interested in recognition. Your strength was never for show. It was for survival. It's what keeps you going when others stop. It's what gives you the boldness to walk alone if necessary. It's what makes you truly unstoppable. And now, at 40, you own that power. You've learned to trust yourself fully. You believe without a doubt that no matter what comes, you'll find a way through. You don't question whether you can handle life. You already have. You don't look for comfort in people who weaken you. You don't let fear freeze you, because you've been tested and proven over and over again that your strength runs deeper than you ever knew. This is why life shifts at 40, because you no longer fear pain. You don't dread the unknown. You don't waste energy worrying about what might go wrong. Instead, you face each challenge with steady confidence, knowing nothing can truly break you unless you give it permission. You carry yourself with certainty. You speak with purpose. You walk into every space like you belong, because you do. And no one can convince you otherwise. At 40, you refuse to let your past limit you. You no longer let pain weaken you. You use your wounds as wisdom. You transform your struggles into fuel. You turn losses into lessons and setbacks into stepping stones. You understand now that life didn't break you, it prepared you. And now you're ready. Ready to rise. Ready to grow. Ready to become everything you were created to be. And what's even more powerful, you haven't even scratched the surface of your potential yet. Number 5, you recognize who your real friends are. At some point, you stop chasing people. You stop begging for attention, for love, for loyalty. Because by 40, you've seen it all. You've had friends who made promises they didn't keep, people who vanished when things got tough. You've poured your energy and heart into those who took you for granted. And through all of it, you learned a vital truth. Not everyone is meant to stay. The beauty of reaching 40 is that you no longer view friendships the same way. You stop confusing company with connection. You stop mistaking fun for loyalty. You understand that real friendship isn't about who's there when life is easy. It's about who stays when everything falls apart. And that understanding shifts your whole approach. You no longer waste energy on people who only show up when it benefits them. You've learned to trust actions over words. You know now that the ones who truly care don't just talk. They show up. They support you when no one else does. They don't just clap for your success. They hold you together when you're falling apart. And at this age, you recognize those people clearly. But getting to this awareness required pain. You had to feel the sting of betrayal. You had to lose people you thought were forever. You had to walk solo for a while just to realize that solitude is far better than being surrounded by the wrong people. And that wasn't easy, because for a long time you made excuses. You gave second chances. You tolerated energy that drained you because you feared being alone. But not anymore. At 40, you move different. You protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. You choose your circle with intention. You no longer feel the need to be liked by everyone. You only care about being loved by the right ones, and the best part, you stop feeling bad for cutting people off. You stop explaining why you're setting boundaries. You stop apologizing for growing beyond relationships that no longer serve you. Because you understand, real friends don't need explanations. They respect your boundaries. They celebrate your growth. They don't compete with you. They cheer for you. Not everyone will understand this version of you. Some will say you've changed. Some will call you distant. And you know what? They're right. You have changed. The old you tolerated too much. The old you clung to people out of fear. The new you understand that real friendships don't need to be forced. They flow. They feel safe, consistent, effortless. You don't chase one-sided relationships. You don't fight to be seen. You've learned that if someone wants to be in your life, they will be. If not, you let them go. No drama, no guilt, no hesitation. Because now your peace is more important than any fake connection. And with that wisdom, you cherish the real ones even more. The ones who never left, the ones who never wavered, the ones who celebrated your wins like they were their own, the ones who stood by you on your darkest nights and reminded you of your light. These are your people. And now you hold them close. You pour into them. You honor their presence. Because now you understand just how rare real loyalty really is. You show up for them the way they've shown up for you. At 40, friendship is no longer about how many people are around you. It's about who's real. You don't care about having a big circle. You care about having a strong, genuine one. A few loyal, dependable people are worth more than 100 shallow ones, and realizing that gives you peace. It lets you move through life with more confidence, more calm, and more appreciation. Because now you walk knowing that no matter what life throws your way, you've got people who truly have your back. So let them say you've changed. Let them call you distant or selective. They have no idea what it took to become this version of you. They don't know the nights you doubted your worth, the pain of discovering that some only stuck around for what you could offer. They don't know how much strength it took to walk away from what no longer fed your spirit. But you know, and that's why you'll never settle again. Number 6, you become unstoppable because you finally understand the power of no. There comes a moment when you realize that no isn't just a rejection. It's a boundary, a declaration of your worth. At 40, you fully embrace that power. You stop saying yes out of guilt. You stop stretching yourself thin to please everyone else. You stop letting people take from you without ever pouring back. Because now, you understand that every yes to the wrong thing is a no to your peace, your dreams, your well-being. For years, you were taught to be agreeable, to always put others first. And you did. You said yes when you didn't want to. You showed up when you were exhausted. You gave and gave, even when you were empty. You sacrificed your own joy to keep the peace. But now, you've outgrown that mindset. Now you see that protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's necessary. At 40, you finally understand that access to you is a privilege, not a right. Your time matters. Your peace matters. Your life is not up for negotiation. So you start saying no without guilt. No to draining relationships. No to meaningless obligations. No to anyone or anything that doesn't align with the life you're creating. And here's the thing. When you start saying no, you unlock a new level of freedom. You stop living for validation and start living for meaning. You step into your power because you no longer feel responsible for other people's comfort. You're no longer available for their guilt trips. They'll say you've changed. They'll call you difficult. They'll say you're not who you used to be. And they're right. The old you bent over backwards for everyone. The old you avoided conflict at all costs. The old you stayed quiet to keep the peace. But the new you, you're done playing small. You're done sacrificing your happiness for someone else's convenience. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Your no is enough. Your boundaries are solid. If someone can't respect them, they're not meant to be in your life. You're no longer trying to be everything to everyone, because now you know that you are the one who has to live with your choices, not them. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you wise. It makes you someone who finally values their own needs. It makes you someone who refuses to keep pouring from an empty cup. You spent too long putting yourself last, but not anymore. And here's the beautiful part. The more you say no to what doesn't serve you, the more room you create for what does. More space for your purpose, more time for your peace, more energy for the people who truly love and uplift you, more focus for the dreams you had buried under everyone else's demands. You're no longer afraid to disappoint others because you've realized the ones who truly care won't make you feel guilty for choosing yourself, and the ones who do, they were never truly with you in the first place. That kind of clarity sets you free. It takes the pressure off. It allows you to redirect your energy to what fulfills your soul. At 40, you stop apologizing for it. You stop justifying your choices. You stop shrinking to fit someone else's narrative. You don't ask for permission. If it doesn't feel right, you walk away. If someone crosses a line, you cut them off. If an opportunity doesn't align, you pass on it without hesitation. Because now you understand that every time you say no to something misaligned, you're saying yes to your freedom. And with that comes a new kind of confidence. You don't second-guess your boundaries. You don't allow mistreatment to slide. You don't accept less than you deserve. You walk with purpose. You speak with quiet certainty. You carry yourself with strength, and it commands respect. Sure, some people won't like this version of you. They liked you better when you were always available, always saying yes, always playing nice. But you're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to live your truth. And that shift, that's what makes you unstoppable. So keep saying no, keep protecting your energy, keep choosing yourself. Because at 40, you finally know your life is yours, and you refuse to spend another second living it for someone else.